It's not an adaptive exam, so it's not my study schedule look like. Do buy the 4th edition like I did, make sure that you read the addendum. It's not very...
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Welcome back to the vlog. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jasmine, and today I'm going to be answering a lot of your questions about the PMHNP test. For you who don't know, I had just graduated from my NP program in psychiatry, and I recently took the ANCC board exam, successfully passed it. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about the exam because I know some of you had also graduated from NP school and were looking into study programs, and I wanted to give you my feedback and tell you what worked for me. So I'm gonna also use my laptop because it's been a little bit over 2 months now since I was studying, so I don't really remember it as much as I used to when I first had done it. I was actually gonna film the same way as I filmed for my NCLEX exam, but I wasn't in the groove of filming, so I just did not film that, and I felt like way too nervous to even film myself like I normally would. Those aside, I wanted to talk a little bit about, first, when did I start studying? So I started studying for my NP exam. So in April I was going to take my predictor exam for school. So I was looking all over the internet to see what resources were helpful. And I actually discovered this book a long time ago because it's essentially what every psych NP student refers back to, and I've used it throughout nursing school. But I honed in more on it towards the end of the program because of the predictor exam. So this book is, and I'm gonna post it right here, the Psychiatric Mental Health Nurse Practitioner. And I have the 4th edition, but I know during my review exam, my review program, they also offered the addendum, which is like essentially the add-on information that they had, which was actually very relevant to the exam. So if you do buy the 4th edition like I did, make sure that you read the addendum. It's not very long, but it was relevant information that did show up on the exam, I believe. So I also wanted to show you kind of how I was studying. So I'll show you right here what my study schedule looked like closer to the exam. So this wasn't necessarily during nursing school. I remember I would do 1 chapter each week in nursing school, but when I was closer to my exam date and I had already set it, I had done essentially this, where I would do multiple chapters a day depending on how heavy the information was. So as you can see, like the PMHNP rule, chapter 2 wasn't very heavy. Theoretical basis of care, neither was that. But chapter 5, neuroanatomy and neurophysiology and behavior, was a little bit more heavy, and that was very important to the exam. I'm like getting over the flu. So excuse me sipping my tea every once in a while. And then I also, you might see in red right on my study schedule that there's a red portion that says like 20 questions, 30 questions. I would increase those amount of questions per day to build up my stamina. So for those of you who may not know, the PMHNP exam from ANCC is 175. When I took my NCLEX, I only took 75 questions, so it was quite a bit more, and you really have to build your stamina for it. So that's why I even did questions throughout the program, so that I would get kind of used to the way they would ask things, and just understanding like how long it would take to answer a question. And then from there, the questions that I would use them from are from this website called Pocket Prep. I know in NCLEX world they recommend, you probably know the name. Oh yeah, UWorld. And that was what I thought would be helpful for this, but this is a different testing curriculum. This is through ANCC versus that was through, you know, the NCLEX. A good number to shoot for is at least 50 questions per day, 2 weeks prior to your exam, and that was the same for me with my NCLEX prep as well. So moving on, closer to the exam date, I took the Georgette PMHNP certification review courses, and I'll show them right here. So module 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I started with those, and then a week prior to my exam I would do the last minute review, and these would essentially touch on the same topics that are in the purple book, and you'll see a lot of overlap. So when you're taking these, I would suggest first doing notes on the purple book, and then any new information that you learn from Georgette, and she's very, very, very specific on what she talks about in her reviews in relation to the exam. So it's different than the NCLEX style reviews where they give like a general overview. In Georgette, she teaches a lot more to the test. What do you know? Georgette is a lot more concise in the information, and it won't feel like it because the review sessions are 5.5 hours, or like 3 to 5 hours essentially each. And the first one was really hard to get through for me because it was almost 6 hours, but she not only lectures, but she also tries to make it interactive by asking questions. And I highly recommend writing those questions down, because a lot of the questions that she asked on that review were very similar to that of the exam. So that was very helpful. She also was the one that she told me about the addendum, which was the, sorry, I have to drink more water. But she was the one who told me about the addendum, that you need to read the more relevant information. I'll try and see if I could find it. I honestly deleted a lot of my schoolwork on here because, like many people know, it's not as relevant information. Oh, here I have it. I might try to like link it, or I don't know how I can. It's only 26 pages, but it looks like this. If you join the Georgette page on Facebook, I believe it's on there, because I don't know how many people actually need it, but if there's only one or two of you, I can definitely send it via email. But if there's like a mass amount of people, I think that would be kind of difficult. So if you don't get an email from me, it's on the Facebook page. If you search up Georgette review, it will have the addendum on there, and you just have to search it in the search bar, and that's how you get that. And I believe someone also, just a FYI, I found the purple book online as a PDF a lot more helpful than having it physically, because I was able to just type in, like, if I needed to go to like serotonin and like how that would you know, be relevant to like depression or anxiety, you could just type it into the search bar as opposed to like flipping through every single page of the book. So I thought that was helpful. Okay, and then from there, I first took the notes, and then I compressed the purple book and my Georgette notes together with also like some of the YouTube videos that I watched. And I think it's called, let me look it up. It's like dirty medicine, and those have really great videos. Like for example, their dopamine pathways video was great, and I thought that was very relevant to the exam. And I'll show you an example of how I do my notes. I like to really have them all on one page because there's a lot of information. I highlight the name of the disease, and then more information from Georgette was in like this blue that you may see, and then I'll also input like the the YouTube URL code so that I'm able to just click on it. I wouldn't always print these notes, but I would always have them on my like iPad to just scroll and look through. Another thing that I did was I would actually listen to the lectures from Georgette. So something that's really helpful is if you compress all these notes and you have everything in one place, right? And then you can read and record yourself and then listen to it on car rides, like to work, if you're going on a walk, if you're going to the gym. And that's what it was most helpful for me. I'm more so an auditory learner, so for me, listening when I was driving to work was one of the best and most helpful ways for me to learn a lot of this information. And I would read the question as well, and I would pause before giving the answer so that when I'm like driving, I can listen to the question and then think of my answer and then shout it out before the answer is given. And that was helpful as well. Another question bank that I used was the ANA questions, which is the American Nurses Association. And pro tip, I didn't know this and I didn't hear much people talk about it. A lot of people say you don't really necessarily need the questions from ANA, but I bought them anyway. Don't buy them. Just go on Quizlet and search up the ANA questions and they pop up because they're the same exact questions every time. It's not like UWorld where it's a new set of questions. It's just the same every single time. And besides that, a lot of the questions that Georgette talks about in her review were actually just the ANA questions, just reworded. So, in summary, I essentially studied the Purple Book throughout school, and I had notes on that already. And I started using Pocket Prep to do like 20 to 50 questions at first, and then you could obviously increase them. So closer to the exam dates, I would get closer to like 150, 175. And then I did take a long break from studying because, as some of you may know, I went on a medical mission as well as like a trip to Europe after my graduation. So I did take a month off. And then after July, that's when I really started studying in August. And then I took my exam the first week of September. So I took a little bit, I would say maybe less than a month to really study. And I really started studying when I took the Georgette reviews. And then after, you know, taking the notes on those, making my own recordings of these, I essentially would just keep reviewing those chapters over and over and the modules over and over again. And you'll realize the questions and the information is very redundant. I also did the ANA questions closer to the end, but you can also do that at the beginning. Just don't buy it because it's a waste of money, and I wish I'd known that before. But yeah, prior to that, I have to drink water again. So prior to the exam, I also visited the site just so I know where it is, which is a tip that a lot of people do encourage you to do. I did it for my NCLEX, so I did it for my board certification exam as well, and I just thought it was helpful as long as I know where to go, and I knew that there was no bathrooms that I could use without a key before I arrived, so I allotted enough time to use the restroom at like Starbucks. And then the exam itself, I know I had the question of how long does it take to take this exam, because it's 175 questions. And they allow you, I believe, 3 hours. No, is it more than that? I think 3 hours. I may be wrong. I think it's 3 hours and 30 minutes because that's what I did for my like practice exams. I would do 3 hours and 30 minutes. And from there, I think it took me actually 2 hours and 15 minutes to answer 175 questions. So I was going pretty rapidly through the questions, but that's also including me reviewing the questions as well. And some questions are very quick. You look at it, you know the answer, or you don't know the answer. It's not like the NCLEX where it's like, seems like there could be two similar answers. A lot of them are knowledge based, and if you just don't know the answer to it, you probably don't know the answer to it. So really hone in on the information because a lot of the questions are very straightforward. In comparison to the NCLEX, because I also have this question, I would say for me, the board certification exam was relatively easier, only because the information was a lot more specialized as opposed to NCLEX, which is just across the board. I personally am better with psychiatry and mental health questions in that specialty, which is why I of course pursued it. But medical is a whole different ballgame. So I think the biggest difference is also the amount of questions. I know some people did, I think they did like 175 questions. I think the NCLEX can go up to like 200 now. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't taken the NCLEX in like 4 years or 5 years. I don't even know how long it's been now. Yeah, the biggest difference is this test is not, you either get it right or wrong. It's not an adaptive exam, so it's not like it's gonna get a lot harder like it did on the NCLEX. So anyway, I hope this information was moderately helpful. It has been like 2 months now since I've taken the exam, so I kind of wish that I had done it a little bit sooner, but hopefully this was helpful to some people. I wish I had actually looked at more videos of people who had taken the exam before because I thought it was helpful, especially knowing not to buy the ANA questions. But overall, very doable exam. And as long as you study correctly and you go through questions and you build the stamina for the exam, you'll be completely fine. I think I read on a forum that it was one of the easier exams to take in terms of board certification. So any of you who are taking this exam, best of luck. And if you have any other questions, shoot them down below. Don't forget to follow me on my social media at Jazz the Nurse. I'm starting to get back into social media and starting back my vlog era. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.